Okay, we're live. I hope that the quality this time is a lot better because last time it was not. So I just want to make sure that we're good this time. So give me a holler if you see a problem. Anyone who's listening, wherever you are. Let me see. Okay. What's the quality, guys? What is the quality? Okay, it seems like it's okay this time. So I hope you guys are well. Ishai Breslauer here. I hope you guys are doing this Monday morning, doing great this Monday morning. It's already later than usually I do this. I usually do this early so people can listen to me later when they was actually great, and it's already on the podcast. I'm going to put it later on so you can listen to it. I'm actually going to put it on right now. So if you want to listen to the podcast and you are driving or you're going to drive soon, you can actually do this. I'm going to discuss today. We're going to discuss today hospitality sector, hotels, guys, hotels. That's what I'm going to talk about today. It's pretty much a hot topic. And what I want to do now is basically go over what's going on. And what's going on is not great, guys. It's not an awesome situation, as we call it, and pretty challenging what's going on out there. So hospitality sector got smashed during COVID. What COVID did to hospitality sector, to hotels, and hotel is a big word. Hotels, when you talk about hotels, you're talking about the classic hotels, the express, the inns, the boutique hotels, the resorts. We have hotels contains a lot of stuff in them. The whole hospitality sector contains a lot of stuff in them. And we can't talk about every single sector, but it's pretty much clear that the entire world of hotels got smashed pretty bad. And what we have to do is, it says that it's off about 5 seconds. What it means, it's off about 5 seconds. It means that the broadcast is off about 5 seconds. I don't like to stop when in the middle of the topic, but I just want to make sure that the quality is actually livable. If you guys can, approve the quality, that would be great. I hear that I see Gil Ehrlich saying to me that off about 5 seconds. So anyways, what I wanted to tell you is the following. Hospitality sector got really smashed. Okay, just to put the point on what we do usually when we check out such a deal in hospitality. Any deal in commercial real estate, when we come and check, we try to see where is the downside, where is the risk, where is the worst case scenario. That's very important. Very worst case scenario. We're trying to see where is it going, what's happening with that, and so on and so forth. Okay, my son is showing me actually that the quality is not too bad. If you could turn it off now, so it won't take the quality of the internet, that would be great. Thank you so much. But anyways, I want to get back to it. So when we check a deal, when we check the pro forma, when we check everything, what we do is the following. We go and check this whole set. We go check the pro forma, and then we start playing with the occupancy. In a regular deal, in a multifamily deal, we start playing with the revenues from rent, right? Or the management costs, etc. But usually the revenues from rent, we take it down. We see if the market will be later, will not be as spectacular. Sensitivity table, the whole thing. Same for retail, same for everything. In hospitality, what we do is we take the percentage of occupancy and we start playing with that. Okay, that is our indicator. So usually what we do, let's say, usually occupancy runs between anywhere between 65 to, let's say, in the normal, in those mediocre areas or normal areas, I would call it rural areas, 65 to 75% occupancy. And the average usually for prime location areas is more like anywhere between 75% to 85%. That's how usually we calculate occupancy in an average throughout the year. Worst case scenario, we take it down to 50, 40, sometimes even 30. Why? Because we want to see if we can still keep the debt service going, if we can still pay the bank. And in a normal case, we try to see if the ratio is normal, just like in every deal. And we try to see if we can survive through it. Who knew that the worst case scenario would go from a 75, 65, 85%, whatever, not down to 30 or 40 or 50, but to zero. That was an crazy surprise that was completely unexpected. And that's very, very difficult to understand how we are going to do things and how we are going to actually, maneuver in that kind of a situation. So here's what I'm going to do. Here's what I would like to, that's what I would like to talk about. There are large chains, the large companies, the big mamas, as we call them, the Marriotts, the Hiltons, all those guys. And then you have those moms and pops. There are no moms and pops in hotels, but the franchisers, right? Those guys that are franchise owners, they have maybe one location, 2 or 3, 4 max, maybe a little more, but that's it. And those guys that have boutique hotels, it's their baby and they nurture it and they are there all the time and they manage the whole thing. So there's a difference. So I'm putting in 2 categories. I'm going to discuss both. The first is the large guys, big chains, and then the other one is I'm going to talk about the franchise, the franchisees and all those. Now, talking about the big chains, again. So I saw a lot of interviews. I'm following a lot of market trends within this sector. And what I saw was very interesting. First of all, you could put express hotels, the Holiday Inns, and all those are doing a little better. Because what happened? If we take it back for a little bit, we had a pandemic. Caught us by surprise. Nobody knew what's going on. The whole world was quarantined within days. We couldn't leave the home. We didn't know where we were going. Everything became really insane. Okay? Now, and hotels went to zero, as I said, went to zero occupancy. That was the big surprise. That was the big thing. We spoke about this. Now, once the world started opening up a little bit, people started getting out. People started getting out to the open. People started getting to see what they're going to do. Maybe they're going to use hotels. The first thing that happened was those business people that had to go and had to use hotels, they would use the express hotels. Okay. So those type of hotels immediately had some functionality, which was the air that they needed in order just to get something. Okay. And that, who won? The big chains. Okay. The big chains won. The Holiday Inns, all those guys, the IAG, all those big guys, they got that little traffic, even though it wasn't enough. It was not compelling. It was something. Which type of hotel got completely smashed, according to that theory? And that is resorts. We go for a vacation with our family. We want to go skiing. We want to go to the beaches. We want to have fun. Couldn't do that. The summer, which is the busiest time of the year, or one of the busiest, maybe Christmas is, but anyway, summertime is the busiest time of the year. A lot of people take vacations. They go for 2 weeks here, go for 3 weeks there. Some of them take a villa over there. Some of them take a hotel here. They go to resorts. The summer was a very different summer this year. Very, very different summer. And the hotel got really smashed on that one because the core of the revenue is during the summer. So when that happens and the summer gets really messed up, what are you going to do? What are you going to do, really? So again, Big difference between the express type of hotels and between the resort type of hotels. Just put parentheses on resorts, because when you're talking about resorts, um, very interesting things happening, because we still hear of a lot of developments out there in the world. When you talk about hotels, you can't talk about with just one country. You talk about, you talk globally about tourism, and the hotels around the world got smashed within the resorts. Of course, that was the main part that got smashed. But anyways, we still hear about ground up developments of resorts, and that's a little troubling to me, and I'll explain why. And if you guys agree, let me know. When you have this type of a situation, and you have so many non-performing loans, so many hotels that are not doing well, so many opportunities, which we'll talk about in a second, why would you go for a ground up development unless you already started and it's already your deal and you're married to it? Okay. Why would you go for that if you can have some beautiful, spectacular hotel that is not, meaning cannot pay the debt service? The owner really needs the money. He needs to get out. He'll be happy just to leave, and you have the capital. You're not over leveraged. You have deep pockets. You can go and buy it and keep on going. Why wouldn't you get that type of property, that type of a deal, than going into a ground up development? To me, that's a question. But it shows that there is a future to resorts. And it makes some sense because, do you, Mr. Looking or Miss Looking at, this video, aren't you dying to take your family on vacation? I'm dying to do that. Everybody's dying to do that. This is something that we really would love to do. Get out of the house, go for vacation, do something. So, right, the world is moving a little bit. People are going out, people are doing stuff, people are flying again a little bit, but not even close to what it used to be. And right now, we want to go for vacation. So that is the parentheses. I put the parentheses on the resort aspect of things, okay, of hotels when you talk about hotels. Now, another thing that I want to talk about is the social distancing aspect. Hotels started providing social distancing and started learning about social distancing and the cleanliness and all those things that they were not so familiar. We all saw those horror videos, right? With those ultra red, ultra violet, ultra blue, I don't know what it's called, but all those, things that when you go to a hotel and, they put something on the pillow and the blanket to see if the hotel actually clean the sheets, will actually take them to the laundry, or they just do, some shtick, I don't know what, and they keep it there. But anyways, so that is a big thing. That is a big thing that the hotel had to go through, and that's the adoption. That's the pivoting that the hotels had to go through. So social distancing is so important because I'll give you an example. I had that experience, but I'm saying a lot of people want to go to hotels right now. If the hotels, and that's why, by the way, again, resorts could win the game because they have a lot more space. But put that aside, okay, different discussion. Hotels can win the game right now, all hotels, if they know how to treat their clients, okay? And I see Jonathan Moore is writing me HVAC, air movement, and air change. Absolutely. The whole taking care of what we can't do, John, what we can't do on a plane, what we can't do in an airplane has to be done in hotels. And those guys who are understanding that, and they are bringing new, and I'm going to talk about this in a second, that's the side of technology and prop tech also that is coming in very fast in hotels. These guys did not pay attention. Listen to me. They did not pay attention at all. They did not pay attention at all to what's happening. And they were not ready. They weren't ready. And prop tech is coming, property technology is coming so fast to the commercial real estate industry, and everyone is pivoting. And I'm talking about pre-COVID. Everybody's pivoting. Everybody's trying to find technologies to have better management, to see how to analyze deals better, how to find deals better, how to run their maintenance. Every single aspect is today is coming with technology, and slowly it's coming in. It's not going to happen so fast. But the hotels were not a great, I would say, uh, they weren't adapting to it that fast. And COVID sort of told them, you have to do that. You have no choice. You got to pivot. You got to find a way to bring technologies. And yes, elevator, confined space. You have to find a way how to still maintain social distancing. So how do they do that? People get into an elevator, and it's true also for office building, by the way. Office buildings are doing the same thing, and they're using tech in order to prevent people to touch buttons or anything else, or doors, or whatever it is. And they have these rules: only certain amount of people in the hotel, in the elevator, only with masks, etc., etc. In the lab, in the dining room, that is the coolest thing, because they pivoted. When you need to find a way to reinvent yourself, it's unbelievable. That was the best proof. You go to a hotel and you see those guys behind the counter. They serve the food. And there's this big glass, and there's the rail, and you can't go in. You can't even get to the food because the old times of buffets, they're gone, guys, for now at least. So what do? They have this line with 6 feet, from each person. There's distance. And then when the person gets to the counter, he's being handled this plate with food. He says what he wants, gets the plate with the food, gets another plate with food, or gets whatever. He's being served, cannot touch anything. So they did find solutions to that. And that is something that I think that authorities need to encourage people to go back to vacations, to be able to support those hotels, because hotels are becoming smarter and smarter with social distancing. Another thing that I heard a lot of CEOs, owners, franchise owners, franchise CEOs, whatever you want to call them, those large corporations, what they do, they are finding ways to connect with customers, to create a relationship, and new relationships with the customers, to have them come back. So they come and tell them, come, we'll accommodate you in this crazy situation. We'll make you feel so great, because they're already thinking ahead. Okay, this thing is going to be over within what? I don't know, a couple of months, 6 months, 7 months, a year, 2 years. Nobody knows. Whenever it will be done, you want these clients, you want these customers to come back. And they will come back to a place that treated them like kings, that made them feel safe, made them feel like great. How do you say? This place is great. It's safe for you, your family. Everything's good. Okay, and that is from that aspect. Okay. Another thing I want to talk about is that everybody, and soon I'm going to talk about the small franchises, which is much more challenging, and the boutique hotels. 1 second, but beforehand, I just want to talk about I want to speak about how do you say that? They're working with the lenders. Working with lenders, guys, this is a major, major, major thing. And that is true to every aspect. We spoke about, we spoke about, what do you call it? We spoke about working with lenders, even when it comes to multifamily, which is performing nicely. Multifamily is doing great. And multifamily is doing really well. We spoke 2 weeks ago, I think it was 2 weeks ago, we spoke about the resilience of multifamily. And we spoke last week, we spoke about retail, how badly retail is doing, but not as bad as hospitality, but doing really bad also. And we spoke about multifamily resilience, and we spoke about the fact that landlords are still struggling, even in that, from that aspect. The landlords are still trying to get to what do you call it? Landlords are still trying to get to landlords are still trying to work with the lenders. They're still trying to work with the lenders, even when it comes to multifamily. They know that they have to work with the lenders. They know that they must work with the lenders, and they know that this is something they have to do, because they can't do without. They cannot sit there and wait for the bank to call them. They have to work with the lenders first. They have to make sure that the lenders will work with them together. They can't wait for debt service not to be paid, etc. So if we go back to the hotels for a second, this is a major issue. How are you going to pay lenders? Now, if you're a big franchise, if you're big corporations, you sort of handle it. You can handle it. You can get this done. You can find a way to get this thing going. How? You negotiate with the bank. You tell them, listen, we walk through it. The big franchise, the bank is not going to shut you down so fast. The bank is not going to tell you, or whatever lender it is, or how many lenders there are. They know that you are here to stay. Okay? They know that you're here to stay. So that is about this. Now, connecting this whole concept of hospitality to airlines, if you connect this whole concept of hospitality to airlines, it's a whole different thing. It's a whole different thing because airlines, why? Because the second the world was shut down, nobody went on planes. That we know. Then people did not go in a hotel. That we know. But once the world started opening up, the airlines were still shut down. Now things are starting to go again. However, people perceive airlines together with hotels, with the packages and everything else. That's why hotels also had to pivot and go and reach out to their communities, local tourism, as opposed to people. We used to fly. We used to go to a hotel, drive away, few hours, many hours, fly away to go to a vacation. All of a sudden, we don't do that. So maybe we should just drive for half an hour and go to a hotel, And the hotels understood that and they pivoted. And whoever was faster did it, and they were smart. Now, I want to move the conversation right now to the franchise owners, those boutique owners, those guys who are really hurting, okay? And that is a sad story because there is forbearance right now. People can take those, the debt service, the loans, and the banks, and they can, some of them were able to postpone their payments. Some of them were able to work around that aspect. Very good. However, this will end. This is about to end. What will happen then? What type of, and that is a big question for not only the U.S. government, the new government that is going to come. Who knows when it's going to happen, what is going to happen. But I'm saying in general, the world, any official, any government, any officials in the world are going to have to work with those hotels and to tell them, listen, or retailers, or all those guys that are, had this forbearance. Right now, the loans all of a sudden, they're coming back. You have to pay the debt service. What are you going to do? These things are big. And what are going to happen with that? I believe we're going to see in 2021 a lot of foreclosures. I believe we're going to see a lot of things happening. And a lot of loans, we already seeing it, but I think 2021 is going to be a big year for those things, especially when it comes to the hospitality sector, which will create a lot of opportunities for those bigger guys that we said before, those deep pockets guys, the guys that can actually handle debt services and then not over leveraged and all those things. I think those guys are going to handle it best. So they're going to find those opportunities that are going to swallow like Pac-Mans. It's going to be like that. Wow, that's the nature of things, but it's pretty sad. But there's another issue. There's another issue that people don't talk about it enough. They don't think about it enough. And that's a major thing. And I want you to listen. I want you to listen carefully and tell me what you think about that. CMBS, commercial mortgage-based securities. We all know what happened in 2008. We all know that. We are all aware of that. Subprime, the whole housing, sector fell, collapsed, right? We all know about that. Took the stock market down. We know about this. But listen to this. This time is not housing. Actually, we spoke about this. Multifamily has resilience. Some people say, by the way, that due to the loss of jobs, single family is going to suffer. I don't know. I'm not a prophet. I'm not one of those who says it will happen. It could happen, but I don't know if it will happen. But definitely CMBS. There's so many hotel loans, retail loans that are bonded as commercial-based securities. commercial mortgage-based securities. The CMBS loans for hotels and retail, that's a big boom coming up, I think. So I believe that this is going to shake up the stock market, not in a pretty big way. I don't know how much, but this is something, I'm not an expert of that, but I'm very worried about that aspect, and I hope that things will go well for that. I think that the government will be smart. Any government, anywhere in the world, will be very smart to try to work with the smaller owners, to try to work just as much as they work with the bigger guys, to work with the smaller owners and to try to give them more air, because this time will pass. It will take more time, but this time will pass. Those who are in trouble already, that's a different thing. But those who were not in trouble before, prior to COVID, why not try to buy some more air and some more time and give them the ability to survive when it's done? We all want them to survive because, and I'll end with that, we all want to go back to the hotel. We all want to go back for vacation. We all want to take our families and have a lot of fun, because that's what life is about. Not what life is about, but it's part of it. We have to enjoy. We want to enjoy life. We want to get back to normality. We want to go back to where things were, and even better. And we hope that, I wish the best. I hope for the best for these guys, for these owners who are doing badly. And yeah, absolutely. I don't know what the banks will do. The banks, I see, John, what you wrote. The banks will come in as vultures. I believe that, unfortunately. But let's hope for the best. Let's hope that we'll be able to go out for vacation very, very soon. And I hope you guys will have a beautiful week and a beautiful Monday. Take care of yourselves.